You don't have to agree with them, but that's your president. So we'll have our say around the table in the polling places tomorrow and move on with our lives. Hopefully, with the betterment of America in our minds and hearts, too. Well, look here. Eli Karam is in the studio, president of the Kentucky Association of Marriage and Family Therapists. Good to see you again, Dr. Eli.
Good to see you on this election eve, Terry.
Oh, it's very exciting, isn't it?
Only comes once every 4 years, but it's very exciting, yes.
You know, I was talking about my son's coming in here in a little while. Let's start right there as a topic today, too. You know, when your kids don't agree with you exactly or they don't whatever. You know, in my life, it's always been the same way. I'm not exactly what my parents are. You have different views, and I encourage it. I mean, my kids, I'm trying to think now, they didn't cheer for the same teams I did. They didn't go to the same high school. There's a lot of things they sort of, on their own, wanted to do their thing and be who they are, and I'm a fan.
That's great. I mean, all of us want our kids to grow up and kind of do their own thing, yet have enough of the kind of core values that hopefully we or your co-parent and you have instilled in them. But I think it's a much better place to take than having a child that you feel like, and you, Terry, you've done a lot in your career, could easily be the reverse, where Max and Simon feel like they have to live up to what their dad has done. So this idea that you can be your own person, as long as you, do no harm, you lead a good life, that we can support our kids no matter what they do, even if they branch off in other directions.
Right. Well, chip off the old block's an interesting expression, but your child has his or her own mind.
Right.
And good for them for using it, for letting it flourish, and good for parents who say, you can't be such and such, you can't do this because we've always done it this way.
And a lot of parents, when they're inside the bubble of their family or head, that they kind of miss this, that they have a kind of a box, and if their child ventures outside of that box, they sometimes feel threatened, or is this person making a good choice? And I think this dialogue, kind of like you're having on the airwaves with your boys, knowing what's going on in your son or daughter's life as they go through their adult years, that makes it easier to accept if they make decisions in your life maybe that you wouldn't have made, or maybe that you don't understand. Because we have context for the decision, we can usually support our kids. But it's not like a one-time talk. It's an ongoing dialogue. It's obviously something you and your boys do. But, change is very threatening. So if you have your children branch out in a way that you have not thought of, especially if you consider yourself fairly successful, it can sometimes be a threat. Did I parent them right? Did I lead them the right way? And can sometimes feel like a slight. But really, you got to sit down, you got to have a conversation with your adult kids so you understand why they're doing what they're doing.
And also during teen years, I would guess that's the biggest challenge. I mean, my children are men now; they're in their 20s, and they're blazing their own trails now. But it's good for families, I would guess, to get with a counselor when there's the teenage or wherever it happens to swing in, where there's some rebellion or massive change that's going on, and the parents are kind of quizzical about what in the world's happening here.
You're exactly right, my friend. Marriage and family therapists work with families, especially on these transitions in the family life cycle, and having a teen is a big one. Even for the healthiest of families. Also, parents don't think, okay, Junior was with me and never caused me any problems, and now what's going on? Well, it's developmentally normal. It's developmentally normal to get your identity from your peer group during your teenage years, to kind of use your critical thinking skills, whether it be around politics, religion, and might not be used to your son or daughter challenging you in that way, but that's all part of the plan, and the successful parents adapt to those challenges, maintain their connection with their teen, and kind of meet them where they're at.
Yeah, the only demand, I mean, your children are, you hope, are people of honor and integrity. You instill the values in them to make them people who respect others and treat others. It's basically the golden rule.
Yeah, do no harm.
In my experience has been really wonderful with my own sons, and I love seeing them. It started when they were young. Well, you like the Packers, I like the Bears.
So we're previewing for later today, but even when the boys come in, if they do not espouse your same political beliefs, that is not going to be a threat to you or how you raise them.
No, absolutely not. I like to hear what they have to say, and it's kind of always been that way. And some people think that that's weak parenting. Because I get email from people, and they get so fired up when they think that, well, your child didn't spout exactly what you would. Well, I would hope not.
Right.
We'd be like some silly picture that they show us in a science fiction movie where everybody wears the same clothes. In the future, I mean, it's like we're not all the same.
Yeah, we don't
That's
want
the
that.
beauty of life.
But I would bet you'd want Max and Simon to be kind of informed, so when they speak, whether it be on the radio or in private, that they got an opinion or a rationale behind what they're saying. And I think that's what most parents want. They just want their kids to go out there and to really, if they are going to take a certain stance or belief, to have something to back it up.
All right, let's talk about relationships in general between friends, neighbors, spouses, couples, whoever, partners, who have been at odds over this long election cycle. Mm-hmm. How do we repair the damage come Wednesday?
Right, and we've talked about this last month when I was in, but this idea is that politics, if they are important to you, that's great, but they do not have to ruin your relationship. But if you are very different politically aligned and you're in a romantic relationship, I think it's something you have to agree to disagree on. So it's not about going in tomorrow or Wednesday and after the election and pointing your finger and saying, see, I won or we won. I mean, it's the idea of respecting political differences, knowing when to be involved in your cause, but also when to kind of, get back to business, whether it be your neighbor, your partner, your kids. So, don't go overboard with it.
Should you go a day without saying anything? I mean, if you're the winner,
yeah,
I see you smirking.
Right. Yeah. Let it lie.
Hey, chill a little bit. All right, we're going to talk about sleep differences coming up in about 10 minutes. So sit tight. Dr. Eli Karam, he's online at elicaram.com. Karam is Karam. Back in a